Hey guys, good afternoon. It's Cali. How's everybody doing today? I just posted another video on day 10 of my master cleanse, so I'm finished with that. So if you're interested, check out those videos, and I'll continue to keep you updated throughout the week as I kind of ease off that. But I just wanted to touch base because I'm most likely not going to be going to the auction this week. But I am going to be going back to the Rivoli Theater to support a local band and dear friend of mine. The band is Jazzmosis, and my friend is Steve Schwartz. Shout out to Steve Schwartz of Steve's Music in Rock Hill, New York. He's in an amazing jazz fusion band, and I love Jazzmosis. I'm a huge Jazzmosis fan, so I can't miss it. So that's Saturday night, so unfortunately I won't be going to the auction. But what I did do, and I have a little bit of a haul here, we have a local used bookstore, which for me is heaven on earth. I love, love, love any kind of a library, bookstore. I get lost in the shelves at thrift stores when they have books, 25-cent books and things like that. So there is one locally here, and I don't often go. This was only my second time that I went, and each time, now it's like, oh God, I gotta go back, because I went until literally Tom couldn't carry anymore. And I'll show you what I got, and it's a random haul, and I'm all over the place in my reading. I love to read everything. I'm a voracious reader. If there's nothing to read, I'll read the cereal box. I've always been this way. I remember learning to read as a child. I was about 6, and I remember when it clicked, and I haven't stopped since. I do have a Kindle that, I have thousands of books on that as well, but I keep that to like novels and things. I do love to have a book in my hands, and so without further ado, I'll just show you again randomly, and I think we spent $30, $40 there. And Tom also got a whole bunch, I can't even remember what he got, coffee table size books, hardcover books, and he also got some albums. They had albums there as well. Oh, and I just remembered, I don't have it next to me. It's in my other bag, but I got one of those, remember when you were a kid, or maybe now even, the glow-in-the-dark stars and galaxies and stuff you put on your ceiling? I definitely had them in my room. Well, I also got yesterday at the used bookstore for 50 cents a couple sheets of glow-in-the-dark galaxies and planets and stars. So that'll be cool. I'll probably put them on the bathroom ceiling, knowing me. And anyway, so I got that as well. So they kind of had random things as well. But, okay, I have a stack right next to me, and I'm going to go from the top on down. First one I got was Ray Bradbury, Something Wicked This Way Comes. And this is a collection of, I believe this is a short story. Oh, I thought this was a collection of short stories. Do you know, I'm a Ray Bradbury fan, and I never read this book. Can you believe it? So I'm super excited about reading this. It says, Cougar and Dark's pandemonium shadow show crept into town late one night to the eerie whine of a calliope. In the fearful days that followed, a schoolteacher suddenly became a little girl. A rosy-cheeked boy became a wizened Methuselah. A grown man became a tiny dwarf. It was Jim and Will, two 13-year-old boys, who first stumbled onto the grisly secrets of the show, the sinister merry-go-round, the wax museum of living people, the strange mirror that stole souls. But it was not until they had actually become part of its evil seductions that they discovered the most awful secret of all. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to read it. Again, I'm a huge Ray Bradbury fan. I have been for years, but I've always wanted to read this book, and now I have it. So, yeah, paperbacks, I believe, were 75 cents. I think that's how much they charge. I got this. Carlos Castaneda's The Teachings of Don Juan. A Key Way of Knowledge. This is the second copy of this book that I've owned. I also have, there are 3 books in this series, and it's the story of Carlos Castaneda. It says, the teachings of Don Juan is the story of a remarkable spiritual journey, the first awesome steps on the road to becoming a man of knowledge, the road that concludes with a separate reality and journey to Ixtlan. So those are the other two books that are in it. And basically, it says, this introduces the reader to the elusive, magical, powerful, haunting, and perplexing person of Don Juan, the Yaqui Brujo, sorcerer or medicine man, under whose influence Carlos Castaneda was introduced to a new means of perceiving a world of non-ordinary reality. Their relationship, in which reluctant and demanding Don Juan instructs Castaneda in the disciplines of becoming a man of knowledge by means of a series of mystical experiences and hallucinogenic drugs, has been described as one of the most fortunate literary encounters since Boswell was introduced to Dr. Johnson. So this is a classic, and again, this is my second copy of this book, and I will reread books that I have and that I save over the years, so I look forward to rereading this, and I'll probably read the other two. Actually, I only have Journey to Ixtlan. I don't have A Separate Reality, so I'll have to check the bookstore for that one. The third one I got, and I told you these are in no particular order, is a true crime book. And I'm a huge true crime fan. And I've never heard of this guy. Cruel acts of torture and mutilation more brutal than the crimes of Milwaukee serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. The shocking true crime account of Robert Burdella, the butcher of Kansas City, Missouri. Again, I've never heard of this guy. I love any kind of abnormal psychology, true crime. I had thought for a time that I wanted to get into forensics. I just am, that's why, partially why I'm a psychiatric nurse. I'm sure. I'm fascinated by the way that the mind behaves and what separates us. What, lets me, why is this aberrant to me, and how could I never conceive of this while these people, can do these things, and it's just fascinating. So anyway, I don't know if any of you guys share my enjoyment of true crime, but big true crime fan. Always like to have my, guides, if you will. This is a Simon & Schuster guide to cacti and succulents. And it's a stunning reference to an intriguing category of plants. And this is all about cactus. Easy to use field guide, and it's got a ton of amazing pictures in it. I love cactus. I love plants in general. So this, like brand new, hello, 75 cents. This one, this is just a novel fiction. It says, raised in evangelical churches that preach apocalypse now, Carlene Bauer grows up happy to oblige the God who presides over her New Jersey girlhood, but in high school and in college, her intellectual and spiritual horizons widen, though she still finds it hard to let go of her ingrained ideals and to rebel as she knows she should. She loves rock and roll, but politely declines offers of sex and drugs, and hovers between a hunger for the world and a suspicion of it. In her 20s, however, determined to make up for lost time, Bauer undertakes a belated and often comic coming-of-age in New York City, ultimately falling in love and losing her religion and left wondering just what it means to be good. So this looks funny to me and a good read, so I'll let you guys know how that is. This one, again, random, Passing for Thin, and it says an intimate and darkly comic memoir of a woman who does a 180 with her body. When she was in her early 40s, Frances Cuffle lost half her body weight. In Passing for Thin, Frances describes with unflinching honesty and a wickedly dark sense of humor her first fumbling introductions to her newly slender body, shining a light on the shared human experience of feeling uncomfortable in one's own skin. She gradually moves from observer to player, enjoying for the first time flirting, exercising, and shopping as she explores the terrain on the planet of Thin. As Frances gradually comes to know and love the stranger in the mirror, she learns that her body does not define her, but enables her to become the woman she's always wanted to be. So I like true human interest kind of books. This looks like a quick read, and again, I told you I'm fascinated with anybody who triumphs over anything or personal goals and challenges. Excuse me while I take a sip of my lemonade. Last day of my lemonade. Okay, this book I was super excited to get. This is Dion Fortune, The Sea Priestess. Dion Fortune is a very, very famous psychic, British psychic, who's no longer with us, although I'm sure she's with us. And her writings, and this book in particular, influenced Doreen Valiente, who worked closely, for those of my sisters in the craft know the name, I'm sure, worked closely with Gerald Gardner and writing The Charge of the Goddess. So this book and Dion's other books were influential to Doreen Valiente, which I thought was pretty fascinating. So The Sea Priestess is the occult novel in which Dion Fortune introduced her most powerful fictional character, Vivian LeFay Morgaine, a practicing initiate of the Hermetic Path. Skilled in the making of magical images, Vivian has the ability to transform herself into her namesake, Morgan Le Fay, the Sea Priestess of Atlantis and foster daughter of Merlin. Wilfred Maxwell falls in love with her and agrees to work with her as priest and priestess, investigating the occult mysteries. Their experiment, a vivid dramatization of magical workings, takes place in an isolated seaside retreat and leads them inextricably to an ancient cult through which they learn the esoteric significance and the magnetic ebb and flow of the moon tides. Okay? Hi. Right up my alley. So looking forward to that and so happy to add that to my Wiccan bookshelf. And if you guys haven't checked that out, I have a video about my bookshelves. This one looked interesting. The New Diary, How to Use a Journal for Self-Guidance and Expanded Creativity. And this isn't art journaling per se, but I told you this month, I'm doing a journal for every month of the year, and this month, the month of May, I'm doing a written journal. Something that I've always kind of done haphazardly, but never been disciplined enough to do on a daily basis. So this says, takes readers beyond the rigid calendar diary they may have kept as a child or travelogues of family vacations, a blueprint for efficient, productive, and creative diary writing. It's a tool for tapping the full power of your inner resources. With more than 100,000 copies in print, the New Diary is as much for the novice journal keeper as it is for those who have kept diaries their whole lives. It does not tell you the right way to keep a diary. Rather, it offers numerous possibilities for using the diary to achieve your own purposes, such as clarifying your goals, focusing inner energies, freeing inhibitions and releasing your imagination, using a workbook to explore dreams, and writing about, your life, past, present, and future. So I thought that looked really good too. One of the things that I adore more than anything in the world is to have a fresh stack of books to read and delve into. When I was a kid, I used to come home from the library. I would come home with as many books as I literally could carry, and I would go through those books in a week, easy, and be back for more. And I just remember always that feeling of just being able to dive into all this wonderfulness. So, okay, this one, brand new, and hardcovers I think were $1.50 there. So it's called Dry by Augustine Burroughs, and he wrote, I don't know if any of you are familiar with him, he wrote Running with Scissors, which was a great book, hilarious. But this is a memoir. Apparently he's an alcoholic, and he says, from the New York Times bestselling author of Running with Scissors comes the story of one man trying to outdrink his memories, outlast his demons, and outrun his past. I was addicted to Bewitched as a kid. So was I. I worshipped Darren Stevens the first. When he'd come home from work, Samantha would say, "Darren, would you like me to fix you a drink?" He'd always rest his briefcase on the table before the mirror in the foyer, wipe his forehead with a monogrammed handkerchief, and say, "Better make it a double." So this is his story of his drinking, and I'm really interested to read about that. Again, I like I like books on mental illness. I like books on eating disorders. I like books on addiction, AbnormalPsych, true crime. Okay, this I had to get. Hello, Leonardo the inventor. And this has wonderful, wonderful plates and copies of his work. And I'm just super psyched to have gotten this and to, again, add it to my bookshelf. And I may have to have Tom make me a new bookshelf. But that's the worst part. I told you I've moved over 40 times in my life. And I hope to stay here for a long time. But anyway, and that's the worst part of any move, is always all my books. Kindle or no Kindle, I still have a lot. Okay. This is the Guinea Pig Diaries, My Life is an Experiment by A.J. Jacobs. And he also, I've read 2 other of his books on my Kindle. The Year of Living Biblically and The Know-It-All. And basically this guy uses himself as an experiment. And he will try to, okay, this says, best-selling author and human guinea pig A.J. Jacobs puts his life to the test and reports back on the surprising and entertaining results. Learn what it's like to go undercover as a woman and impersonate a movie star and say whatever is on your mind, as in no filter ever, and outsource every part of your life to India, including reading your kids' bedtime stories, plus several other life-altering experiments, one of which involves public nudity. Filled with humor and wisdom, the Guinea Pig Diaries will change the way you think about everything, from love to work, from national politics to breakfast cereal. This guy is hilarious, and I really look forward to reading this. I really recommend any of his other books. The Year of Living Biblically, he took the Christian Bible and tried to live it word, like every, rule or any, thing in the Bible that it says that you have to do as a person. He tried to live that way, and he writes, he's hilarious, and I highly recommend any of his books, so I look forward to that. This next book, you guys, I was super psyched about. Hello, combining 2 of my very favorite things, magic and gardening. Astrological Gardening, The Ancient Wisdom of Successful Planting and Harvesting by the Stars. So, this obviously talks all about when to plant. It talks all about all the different vegetables, all the different herbs, pest control, planting by your sign, Virgo, phases of the moon, when to plant by the phases of the moon, yeah, when to prune, when to harvest, sundials and witch balls, hello, trellising, teaching your children. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to this. This looks really, really good, you guys. So, I'll let you know. Never heard of this woman, Louise Riote? Anybody? I'll let you know. This next one, I have Linda Goodman's Sun Signs, which talks all about astrologically your signs. This is Linda Goodman's Love Signs, and look at this. And again, paperback, 75 cents, you guys. This is a hefty guide to star-crossed loving. Each possible combination of signs is explored in general and then in detail. This has every combination, like I'm a Virgo and Tom is a Capricorn, and we are such a great match. But these kinds of books are just a lot of fun to learn all about yourself, about your partner, and it's got some cool illustrations. And I really like her other books, so I'm gonna assume I'm gonna like this one too. So again, I'll let you know. I'm sure I've paged through that at some time in my life or not. Excuse me again. Okay, this one looked really cool, and I told you I like AbnormalPsych, and this I think is about a woman with multiple personality disorder. On the back, and she wrote this. Oh no, she didn't write this. Jonathan Bliss and Eugene Bliss, MD. So I guess it was written by her doctors, maybe? But there's a quote from her on the back. It said, "It's important to note that I did not merely maintain the appearance of a normal working person during these crazy times. I was actually a highly capable and productive worker at whatever I attempted. I could also perform a variety of complex tasks. For example, supervising a staff, administering a budget, meeting with various agencies, and designing new programs. I could do all of these things and do them quite well. That ability was there just as long and often as strong as the crazy times. That is why I had so often thought of myself as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. In the 9-to-5 working world, I was very successful, with professional acknowledgments from national organizations and many peers. But in the evenings and on weekends at home, I was often unable to make even the simplest decision: what clothes to wear, what to eat, what to do, and frequently my behavior would become dangerous, self-destructive, completely out of control." I'm really looking forward to that. I'll let you know. If anybody wants to borrow any of these, let me know. And another one, these were kind of like in the same section, I guess. I was over in the, actually I don't know where I got this, but this is Obsessed, America's Food Addiction and My Own. And you know, I've been doing the Master Cleanse, so I kind of have food on the mind, and nutrition and healthy eating and things like that. So, and again, I've told you, I keep saying again, I apologize. I've shared with you guys that food is not my addiction. I've never had, I don't eat emotionally. You know, for years I smoked. Now I chew gum. So I was a drinker. You know, I've had other addictions. So food isn't one of them. But I understand addiction. And addiction is addiction regardless of what substance is used to fill that hole of whatever you're trying to fill it with. Some people fill it with food. Some people fill it with pills. Some people fill it with, you know, whatever it is. It's just people in pain trying to heal however they know how. But anyway, so that's my little sermon for the day. But this says, why are so many of us consumed by our desire for food? Why can't we stop eating or stop thinking about eating? In her thought-provoking new book, Mika Brzezinski cuts through the blame and shame surrounding the obesity epidemic in America and shares insights from notable personalities and top researchers about how we got here and how we can take control of our eating habits. Along the way, she reveals her personal battle with food and the journey she and her close friend Diane have taken to change their weight and, more importantly, their attitude towards food. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, personal triumph, people sharing their stories. I'm all about it. I support other women and other men. I support people in general. Anybody who's trying to better themselves or better the planet, even if it's the smallest, tiniest step, I'm going to cheer you on, and kudos to you, because it's hard sometimes to take that first step. I get it. I know that. But that's how it begins, and you just do it. So on that note, I just want to leave you with, I am grateful, and I am so, so grateful for all of you and my life and everything in my life. And this book looks really, really cool. It's basically a cookbook, and you could see what I was doing yesterday as I'm focused on food, but this is a vegan cookbook. And apparently, which I didn't know, and maybe some of my friends in California, secret, there's a restaurant called Cafe Gratitude, which sounds amazing. Locations in San Francisco, Berkeley, Marin, and Los Angeles. Cafe Gratitude is well known for its inspiring environment and flavorful organic foods. In I Am Grateful, founder Therese Engelhardt presents the personal and business philosophy she shares with husband and co-founder Matthew. She tells the story of her own path to healing and recovery from eating disorders and explains the benefits of a raw food diet. Gorgeous color photographs accompany easy-to-follow recipes for the cafe's most popular items, making it easy for readers to prepare live foods at home. Recipes include cafe favorites such as I Am Luscious, a raw chocolate smoothie, I Am Bountiful, bruschetta, I Am Elated, spicy rolled enchiladas, and I Am Amazing, lemon meringue pie with macadamia nut crust. So this is a raw food cookbook, and all the recipe names are I Am Aloha, I Am Accepting, Yo Soy Mucho, I Am Bueno, I Am Awesome, I Am Impeccable, And it's all like homemade salsas and sauerkraut, coconut curry soup, veggie noodles, pepper jack cheese, endive boats with marinated mushrooms, enchiladas, pesto pizza. Wow, I'm psyched, and this was so timely. So I am very, very grateful that I have found this book. Very grateful that I got this amazing haul. Very grateful for all of you. I love you guys so, so much. I hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful week, and I'll keep checking in on you. It's funny, I haven't been doing art this week because I've been so focused on the cleanse, so I'm kind of a little all over the place. I do have some projects on the back burner, though, that I have not forgotten on, and perhaps I'll get on that today, but we did have a big thunderstorm roll in last night, which is great. Everybody got some rain, and so I'm waiting for my rhododendrons to come into bloom, and then I will give you guys a big tour of my deck, a tour of my little deck, a little tour of my big deck. Anyway, I love you guys. Have a great week. Blessed be. I'll talk to you very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.